There you got it, right from the horse's mouth. Ray Mercer, then, very controversial career at the moment. Those bribery charges. In fact, I don't know if you got the gist of that. He tried to ask Ferguson to take a dive because he knew he was behind, didn't prepare right.
King of beers, Budweiser.
Ferguson was one of only 2 losses on his record. The other, of course, Larry Holmes, when he lost his WBO championship.
Larry Hazard Sr., Chairman Jerry Gormley, board members Gary Shaw and Richard Harrison, Deputy Commissioner Lawrence Wallace, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Frank B. Doggett, attending physicians Dr. Earl Shaw and Dr. Dominic Coletta Jr. The timekeeper for this bout is Fred Blumstein. The 3 judges assigned, ladies and gentlemen, are Frank Brunette, Richard Strange, and Rocky Castellani. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Harrah's Atlantic City, let's get ready to rumble! 10 rounds of boxing. This is in the heavyweight division. When the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Tony Orlando. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks with red trim, weighing in at 219 pounds. He's from Los Angeles, California, and has a professional record of 14-11, 9 of those 14 victories by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Chill Wills.
So there's Mark Wills.
And his opponent
26 fights.
Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with red trim and gold letters. He weighs in at 225 pounds. This 1988 Olympic gold medal champion is fighting out of West Orange, New Jersey, and brings a professional record of 21-2, 16 by KO. Introducing Merciless Ray Mercer.
There's Mercer's Ray Mercer, a former Marine who, funny enough, was actually stationed in Germany and boxed for the Frankfurt side as an amateur. So, 10 rounds ahead of us then. Mark Anthony Wills in action against Ray Merciless Mercer. From West Orange, New Jersey, 6 feet 1.5 inches tall, so not a huge heavyweight. And he's been incredibly disappointing. When you think at that time he beat Tommy Morrison for his WBO championship, no one quite knew what Morrison was at the time. And he was severely exposed by the heavy punching Mercer. And not only does Mercer hit, he's got a very good chin, but Morrison absolutely blitzed. And when you think what Michael Bent did recently to Tommy Morrison, you've got to wonder, in light of the Larry Holmes defeat and the Jesse Ferguson defeat, you actually got to wonder how that really marks Ray Mercer down. And how would he get on with Michael Bent? Interesting. Well, we might find out one of these days. Bent is the reigning WBO heavyweight champion. Of course, Mercer wants a crack at Riddick Bowe, but that's all gone now. So he might just have to wait for a crack against Evander Holyfield. Mills has fought twice against British fighters. He beat Derek Williams in New York and then lost to Gary Mason in London in consecutive fights back in '89. The only 2 in fact he had that year. Wills from Los Angeles.
Let him go, let him go.
Pretty poor record of Mark Wills. 11 losses, 14 wins and a draw, 9 stoppages. And if Mercer's going to have any credibility at all, he'll have to get rid of this man quite early. Wills has been stopped 4 times. Tim Witherspoon did it in 8, I think, back in March of '85. And Dee Collier did it in 7 for the state championship. Second time, in fact, he boxed Collier. Outpointed the first time, stopped in 7 the second time. Lost the bone crusher as well. That was in fact last year. In fact, it was this year, my apologies, in February. But I must admit, he's a good result there. Did well to outpoint Garing Lane, who's now got a good attitude to his work. And obviously Mercer will be hoping to dispatch Wills quite early and create some kind of impression on the new WBO champion, Michael Bent. Bent took 10 rounds to beat Wills, and Wills only had 5 days' notice for the fight. So, I don't know, a bit of a tenuous link there between them. First round then for Mercer, as probably anticipated. Just run through a couple of reasonable names on the Mercer record. He also beat Jerry Jones. He actually beat him 4 years ago, when in fact Jones was the third from last opponent of Wills. Beat the former cruiserweight champion as well, Ozzy Ocasio. And Mercer picked up the IBF Intercontinental Heavyweight title for what it's worth, beating Kimwell Odom on points over 12 rounds back in 1990. And I think probably the best win on his record would be over Burt Cooper for the NABF Championship. Points win in August of 90. Then he knocked out Francesco Damiani in 9. Actually had to come from quite a way behind to do it. Mike Dixon was beaten in 7, and Dixon recently had his purse suspended by the Boxing Board of Control in Britain for his dismal performance against Herbie Hyde. Mind you, I must admit, I don't think it was too fair to suspend his purse, because Dixon was what he was, if you know what I mean.
Let him go.
And that first round knockout win over Tony Willis last time out by Ray Mercer was nothing more than a massacre. Willis, far too small, looked like a middleweight against Mercer in fact, and got bowled out in the first round. One thing to say for Wills though, he always does give a pretty good account of himself. He's limited but tries hard. Very ambitious individual. And as you heard him say earlier, he was actually in the top 10 at one point. A couple of wins over the former champion Greg Page helped him there.
Let him go.
And Ray Mercer, of course, gold medalist in Seoul back in '88.
Let him go. Let's go.
And he could well be another man with a great future behind him. So, inside the last 45 seconds of the second of a scheduled 10. Heavyweights, of course, needless to say. Mercer took the first. There's not a great deal in this second.
Hold it.
Possibly Will's just doing enough, just clipping and cupping away. Takes a good right, though. And a good left hook. Well, whatever lead he may have had, with 20 seconds to go, it looks like it's gone now.
Come on, let him go. Step back.
Well, it might just be fair to give Wills a share of that second round, in spite of that combination from Ray Mercer. Not looking too merciless at the moment. Hey, Bob, we've left them in for you. Little lump appeared on Will's left eye in the second. Say, I think he just probably scuffled around sufficiently to earn a share of that second round. Into round 3 then.
What's his head, Randy?
there for Mercer, but noticeably it didn't actually do any damage to Wills. He just walked straight forward.
Come on, step back, Andy. Come on, let him go.
Yeah, Ray. Yeah, Ray. Big jab, Ray. Come on, Ray.
Nice left-hand work from Mercer. This is better now from Mercer.
All right, break. Step back.
So, is Ray Mercer a contender or a pretender? We'll have to see how this one unfolds, see what his future holds. Firstly, I must admit, I'm not too convinced about Mercer. And at one time, of course, to have been Olympic heavyweight champion was almost a cast-iron guarantee of a successful professional career. Stiff jab for Wills. Uppercut there from Mercer, good shot. Well, he's really putting quite a lot behind these shots, Mercer. But Wills is still in there.
Hold it, let him out.
And the sad thing about Mercer is he's not an awful lot better today than he was when he made his debut.
Come on, step back out of it.
And that was 4 years ago. That's almost 5 years ago now. Wills, by the way, has been a pro for 13 years. Turned pro in 1980. Didn't have any fights at all in 81 and only won in 1980. Stay with us after here from round 3. Some nice left-hand work from Ray Mercer to take the round.
Keep that.
I heard with that body shot.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
You gotta finish with the hook.
Let's go. Come on, bro.
Round 4 then. And I just don't think that Ray Mercer's got the class to be heavyweight champion of the world. And what a great performance by Evander Holyfield, of course, to beat Riddick Bowe, who was admittedly poorly prepared, but nevertheless, great performance by Holyfield.
Don't punch him. Watch your head.
Well, Alburn's thing just differing by a point. But Willis just possibly nicked a share of the second. Wouldn't argue with it. Good shot there, though, catching Mercer. Got a great chin, Mercer, no doubt about that. And wasn't he kidded? Something terrible by Larry Holmes. February of last year, in case you've forgotten. Holmes walked the fight 12 rounds, and Mercer thought, I can get to you anytime I like. But Larry Holmes treated him like a baby. And I thought he conned Mercer out of the fight, personally. And Ray Mercer got himself in a frame of mind he just wasn't able to shake it off. Of course, Bang won his chance then to fight Bowe.
Come on, work out. Come on, let him go.
Come on, Ray. Get back and come.
I wonder how much the WBC championship will now mean to Riddick Bowe since he's lost his WBA and IBF. Don't forget, he put the belt in the bin, and Lennox Lewis was awarded it posthumously, well, without having to box for it. So you might just see Riddick Bowe facing Lennox Lewis, but I personally think that Holyfield, in fact, will be facing Lewis in a unification fight. Oh, Will's actually chasing Mercer around now. And you wouldn't, as I say, you wouldn't expect a man who reckons he's going to be a contender for the world title to be chased around by a journeyman loser like Wills. But it's happening. And Wills is winning this round. Yep, that's Wills' round for me. For the first one then, against Ray Mercer. 38-39 in favour of Mercer now, with 4 gone, 6 to go. Well, it wasn't exactly a clean punch there. Round 5. Will's boxing with a fair bit of ambition here. And I can't think of too many heavyweights in the world today who can put combinations together the way that Michael Bent and Evander Holyfield can. Of course, Jerry Jones might come into consideration. Sorry, not Jerry Jones. Jerry Williams might just come into consideration on that. There's none others I can think of. Well, I don't just mean the ability to put more than one punch on the target. Talk about genuine, hard, fast, well-placed combinations. In fact, the more I see of Ray Mercer, the less I believe in him and feel that Michael Bent would beat him. So probably would Lennox Lewis. And Holyfield certainly would. Nice left hook there from Wills. And Bowe, of course, would do a job on Mercer.
No elbows. Come on, boy, no elbows in there. Let's go. Let's watch that.
While these two are scuffling around, let me just repeat the latest quiz question sent in by Matt Staples of Nottingham. He wants to know the last time the World Heavyweight Championship was scheduled to be fought over 20 rounds. Who were the two fighters and what was the result? And not a great deal so far in this fifth with less than 30 seconds to go. Nip and tuck, really. Punch for punch in this one. So, looks like a pretty even round, I think. Don't forget, though, I encourage you to score them yourselves. Please do. Argue, shout, do what you like. It's all such a subjective art, scoring a boxing match. So into round 6, the halfway point. And Ray Mercer on my card, a point in front. Big right, left hook coming from Wills. And it's a good effort by Wills. But as I say, Mercer is a heavy puncher. Wills should do a bit more stealing like that.
Nah, come on, watch that head, boy.
But of course, don't try and be swayed by who you think should be winning this, like Al Bernstein is. But go on who you think is winning it. Nice right from Mercer. And just to reiterate on those records, Wills 14 wins, 11 losses and a draw with 9 stoppages. And Ray Mercer, he's won 21, lost 2, and stopped 16.
Break! Break on the break, no punch.
Nice left-hand work then from Ray Mercer. But really should be using a lot more of that. Looks like a lazy so-and-so. He wants to take you out with every punch he throws, but not prepared to work for the win, and that, of course, has been his problem in the past. But he doesn't look too bad, actually, when he starts to get the straight left going. So that's better than from Mercer. Two-point gap now for me, in favour of Ray Mercer. There you go, that's the kind of work you can do with the jab.
Come on, blue corner, let's go.
Round 7.
Oh, okay, let's go. Come on, Ray. Come on.
Leading left hook from Wills. He's not at all intimidated by Mercer, and neither should he be. Overarm right as well. Nice body shot there from Wills, and Mercer felt that one, saw his elbows pull in. Tony Orlando having to work hard here on occasion. Only a little chap.
Come on, let him go, come on, that's it. Both sides. Let him go.
Again, the right hand from Wills. Halfway through the 7th. And this is a singularly unimpressive performance by Ray the Pretender Mercer. And nothing at all merciless about it either. And if you paid money to see Ray Mercer, you want to see a lot more than this, wouldn't you? Fortunately, it's free on Eurosport. As boxing is almost every night of the week. No one gives you more.
Watch your head, boy. Come on, watch that head in there.
Now, was that in the pit of the stomach or in the pit of somewhere else, I wonder? Let's have a look. Oops-a-daisy, that was low. Will's being quite manly about this, just getting on with things. No point deduction. Well, it was accidental, no doubt about that, and there was no prior warning. That's fair enough. But Wills looks like he's going to nick this round. Don't care what Al Bernstein says, but Mercer's done absolutely nothing, really, with the exception of one combination and the odd jab. So, it's Wills for me. Didn't cost Mercer a point, but he's only 1 point in front on my card at 68-67 with 7 gone. And good performances by Wills. And I say that simply because we expect a lot more from Mercer. And I know you're only as good as you're allowed to be, and could it be that Mercer's just useless, or that Wills is really taking the play away from him? That's the question. Don't forget, Wills did beat Derek Williams. And there's no doubt that Mercer's got a tremendous chin. Well, me and Al seeing this one rather differently. Interesting that Mercer's now been reduced, well not reduced, but he's adopted a counter-puncher's role. And you would have thought he'd have tried to steamroller Wills, you know, really fight like a potential champion. But he hasn't.
Come on, let him go, let him go.
Severe disappointment. I guess that was a little clash of heads as they went in, but it was actually Wills with a form of momentum. Nice pick there by Mercer. And I think he's decided that he's not going to knock Wills out, so he's just going to try and save a bit of energy, not put too much into the punches, just pick them. Wills proved to be very durable.
Come on, let's go, fellas, come on. Come on, Mark, let's go.
Right hand, double left. Right hand, double left.
Wills was actually beaten in one round by Tony Filianghi back in May of 82. Stopped again by Tim Witherspoon in 8. Stopped by Dee Collier in 7. Stopped by Witherspoon once again in a round. And that, I'm afraid, is it as far as his stoppage losses are concerned. And you really would expect Mercer to emulate that, wouldn't you? But he's got a couple more rounds after this to try and do it. Admittedly, Wills these days is a much more seasoned professional. He knows a lot more, knows how to avoid a big punch, or at least how to avoid the follow-up when he gets tagged. Well, Mercer's round, but not too convincingly, I'm afraid. 2 points the difference now in favour of Mercer on my card. I know, don't it get you bobbed? They just start off with the girl and then suddenly it switches to action. So, penultimate round. Wills, of course, realising that this is a very, very good chance for him to make a name for himself. He's won 3 of his last 4 fights, Wills. He only lost, in fact, in the 4 against Michael Bent last time out on points. Nice uppercut there from Mercer. Long left hook. And that one surprised everybody, and I think especially Mark Wills. Having to go now. And Atlantic City, of course, in the state of New Jersey. And Ray Mercer from West Orange in New Jersey. So local judges as well. They're not going to be too generous to Wills, I wouldn't have thought. It's in the Commission's interest, of course, to keep the home fighters winning. But Wills is winning this sorry, my apologies, Mercer is winning this one anyway. No doubt about that. Not by a great deal, though, I don't think. Just a couple of points ahead coming into this night.
Break! No punching. Step back. Step back.
And Wills has had his moments in the 9th, but just not quite enough of them, I don't think.
They come with the more hooks. When you straight up, that's how you get in caught. You got to pull your ass out and get a hook.
3-point gap now in favour of Ray Mercer.
What up, Cam?
And here's the left hook. Bingo. And once again, Wills not punching correctly. Couldn't land with the knuckle part of the glove there, and consequently did no more than slap against the side of Mercer's head. So 10th and final round then. This is the last session, a chance for Wills to make this one a bit closer. Nice left hook. He's having a go. And of course everyone loves an underdog, especially in Britain. That's why we've got so many. The Brits hate winners, of course, don't they? It's a strange attitude, that is. 6-point gap now on Al's card. That's twice as much as I got it. A bit of body snatching by Mercer in this fight, but not a great deal of it. And Mercer's never ever looked in good shape. One of these that obviously carries it rather poorly. This is a very disturbing performance by Mercer. And I think Wills is probably boxing out of his skin. But nevertheless, you'd expect Mercer to have had the skills and power to cope. And although he's winning it, it's not been at all impressive. And I won't have any of you tell me who wanted to get 10 rounds under his belt. No one wants 10 rounds under their belt. Good right hand there from Wills. There's so much at stake these days. If you can get rid of them in a round, do so. It's 30 seconds to go then, 10th and final session. And Wills is winning this one. Mercer's barely landed a handful of meaningful punches, but this Wills has looked the part. So, into the last 10. And this has not been a world-class performance by Mercer by any stretch of the imagination. Well, it's all over now. Father shouting. 97-95 on my card in favour of Mercer. 5 rounds to 3 and 2 even on my card. I wonder how you see it at home. Probably nothing. The judges have probably got this a landslide victory in favour of Ray Mercer. And don't forget that new question. Get your answers into me as soon as you can. Give the winners out next week. Also, we've got more boxing for you tomorrow night and some martial arts.
Rocky Castellani scores the bout 97-95.
Same as me.
Richard Strange and Frank Brunette both score the bout 97-93 for the winner by
that's a 4-round
decision. Merciless Ray Mercer.
Hope you've enjoyed this show. Good night.